Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we are going to paint this cute, adorable scene at sunset of two little birds on a branch. They're really adorable birds, and they're very beginner friendly. I'm going to show you how to draw them and paint them. So this is how to draw and paint two little birds on a branch. But, you know, if you don't want to after the show right away, there'll be a traceable available to you. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
And he is here to help me bring you this fun lesson by making sure that I stay on track, that the camera is pointed at what I'm doing. He helps answer questions during the show and basically turns all the equipment on and keeps this whole live stream running.
Sometimes it doesn't run.
But he keeps it running.
Try.
Yes, he mostly keeps it running.
Mostly.
So right now this is a live stream, and if you're here for the live, I want to direct you to the description down below. There's a more button. If you open it up, it'll give you a link to the website, colors I plan to use. This really simple painting in colors. We'll go over the materials completely, and just more resources for you. That's where I'll put the traceable when that is up and uploaded. But if you have a question during the live stream, just put that all in caps. You'll notice that there's a bunch of people here with little wrenches next to those names. They are art ambassadors, and they are here because they just know where all 2,500 videos are. So you might have a question that I've already answered in a video, or they might know that answer, so they're here to help. And you might get your question asked live in the show. So that's kind of a cool thing. If you're here on the replay and you have a question, just put it in the comments down below. I check my YouTube channel all the time, and I get to a lot of my questions in the comments. Like, I preferentially look for questions. So I really try to make sure I get to those. Man, there's nothing to do. I've told you what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So I guess I got to get to the beginning, which is to go over the materials of this.
All right.
So I'm working on an 8x8 canvas today. I like squares because they allow you to go bigger and smaller and not have to worry about the placement. It means the painting will work no matter the size of canvas that you're on. I have the colors Mars Black down at the bottom, Titanium White in the middle, Cad Yellow Medium over here, Cad Red Medium, Dioxazine Purple. Now I'm going to tell you on the Cads, you can save a lot of money if you buy hue instead of the pure pigment. Yes, the pure pigment is very vibrant and lush, and I love that. But what is important is, like, sometimes it's like twice the cost. It's like a lot more money. So one place to save a lot of money on your paint palette is to get hue, even in the pro paint. If you're painting with student paint, it already is hue, and you don't have to think about that any more than that. It's already worked out for you. But just if you're getting like the acrylics or the goldens or all of that, this is a tip I have for you. Okay, I feel like I've given a tip.
Yeah.
I feel good about that tip. So let's go to step one.
All right.
Step one, I am going to take a bottle. This is my satin glazing liquid. It's just what I happen to have at the table. I just want a small circle that is, let's look at how big it is across. It looks like this is 1.5 inches across, 1.5 inch circle, something about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to put this right in the center. Why am I doing this? Because I'm circle challenged. So I'm going to put this exactly in the center. I'm going to grab a round brush. This is a number 6 Raphael sepia brush in round. And I'm just going to very carefully sort of trace around my little bottle.
Yeah.
I don't have to be perfect. I just want to know where my white is. That is where my sun is going to go. So that is it. Now we come back with white and everything, so it's just helpful to do. It's not necessary to do. I'm going to put that brush aside, and I think I'm going to let's grab an angle brush. This is a 3/4 inch Catalyst angle brush by Princeton. You could use a brush that's called a bright. That's one that's just straight across like a square, or you could use a round. Really, for this part of it, it's not that important. The other thing I want you to know is this is an underpainting to make the brush strokes that we're going to do on top look a lot better. So it's okay if it's a little bit stripy. It can be stripy. I know sometimes stripiness gives y'all anxiety, but here it's
okay.
Fine because we're going to be hiding it. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my brush a little bit wet, and I'm going to load up a little yellow, and I'm going to just paint around my little circle with a little bit of yellow. Just go around that little bit of yellow. Now I can come in and mix a little bit of my Cad Red and my Cad Yellow and make a nice little orange. And I'm making short little brush strokes that sort of blend in. Little Cad Red and Cad Yellow. I go a little bit over my little yellow area. And I bring this orange out pretty far. Then I'm going to get my Cad Red and mix a much stronger little orange.
This is really just you're using
Just
an angle
painting
brush
it in
there.
circle. Just using the angle brush and painting in a circle around. You'll notice that my brush strokes are rough and very imperfect, and that is just fine for this.
So can I ask you some questions?
Yes.
Could you use a bright?
You could use a braid.
Could you use a house brush?
That might be a little big for this.
What was a small house brush?
Maybe a small house brush.
But just a soft brush that you're using to sort
Well,
of
this
make
brush
the
isn't
circles.
soft.
It's not soft?
No, it's a firm brush.
Oh.
It's a firm brush. You want to use a firmer brush for acrylic paint. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Dioxazine Purple together, and I'm going to mix them and make kind of this really interesting mauvey color. It's just a fun red purple. And this is going to help my purple kind of really show. When I come back and paint that through.
That's interesting how it's got that weird purpliness to it.
It does. It has a weird purpliness. A lot of people think you can't mix Cad Red and Dioxazine Purple, but you absolutely can.
It's an unusual purple.
And I really like the color that it makes. Kind of a Merlot here.
Mm-hmm. Not quite purple people eater purple.
No, yeah. I can brush in a little bit, but I don't have to worry about that too much, the blending of the brush strokes.
Yeah.
We do that on the next.
On the next?
On the next layer.
Ah.
Sometimes I'll get a little more purple and kind of come in the corners out here. It's a fussy bit of kit, but it can look nice if you do that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Just this sort of broken up yellow, light orange, dark orange, and then you start blending in the mix of the Cad Red and the Dioxazine Purple to create that sort of circular pattern we're going to work from real hard now. Now I'm going to dry everything with a hair dryer completely so we can do the next layer.
Thoroughly dry.
Thoroughly dry. Ooh.
Whoa. Don't go that far over.
No, and I'm super on my hair dryer.
Oh,
You'll have to,
I'll have to fix it in a minute.
yeah.
So. Oh, yeah, thoroughly dry. Thank you guys for coming. Don't forget, one of the best ways that you can show you like the show is to thumbs it up. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Those are the easy and awesome ways that you can help spread the news about our show. You can find more information about all the videos here at theartsherpa.com. And we know that we just love you guys being here. So thank you. And back to Cinnamon. Ta-da!
Yeah. Do you want to, before we start the next step, roll me off of the cord?
Sure.
Okay.
I always feel like Kermit the Frog as a sidekick announcer.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He's going to make me go away, or no, maybe not. I'm still here. I'm still here even though you don't see me. We're just going to roll me off my hairdryer cart. Well, or pick me up like I don't. That's so cool. That is very cool.
Okie dokie. Now we're on to step 2.
So I'm going to take my round number 6.
The round number 6.
And I'm going to begin with some white paint. I take some water over to it and I kind of thin it. You can see I work it around. So it's just a little more fluid. And I'll come in and start to paint the center in little round brush strokes.
It's a very white paint.
It's white on white.
Not an artist statement.
Not an artist statement. We're not doing any art for Art Basel here. Now I'm going to take some yellow and white. And I'll go back into where my little sun is a little bit. And I'm just curving these brush strokes around. Little short curved brush strokes. Little short curved brush strokes. There we go, coming around. And then as I'm coming out, I can add a little more yellow. I'll bring that yellow out into my orange a little bit. So you'll start to see that the painting we did underneath was just to make sure that where these strokes don't cover everything, there's a color underneath them for them to contrast against. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Cad Yellow together. Maybe a little more orange than that. So when I want it a little brighter orange, I just add more yellow. And when I want it a darker orange, I add more red. You know, as we go outside, it gets a little harder to cover everything. So you'll find you're working just a little bit more because you're covering more space with your paint. This is almost like basket weaving. You're just weaving the brush strokes into each other. I come over where I painted a little bit so that there's a wonderful layering process.
It's fun to think that you're weaving starlight.
Oh, I like that. We're weaving starlight. I can come in a little fussy and bring some of my orange in a little bit. Just making this look rounder and rounder and rounder. Come out with a brighter orange. I'm going to add a little more red to the orange. Just on the toe of the brush going around. This is just the number 6 sepia round. As I'm coming out, I'm making my colors a little bit darker. And get a little more red going. And bring that around the outside. deep breath, pay attention to my posture, make sure I'm not holding my body in a position that hurts me. A lot of times people like to paint in their lap or bent over their artwork, but that's really hard on your back.
Gotcha. Now you're layering these colors, yeah?
Yeah, so we're just layering these as they go out.
Now, why are you layering them like this?
So that what's underneath shows through.
And that's because acrylic does better when it's in layers to make these sort of...
Well, in this particular case, it does better because the brush strokes don't completely cover the canvas.
Yeah.
And so the color coming through underneath helps with the visual blend.
Gotcha.
Just continue the red going out. So this is really about, you know, trusting, like, that's why I said it doesn't matter if it's a little bit stripy. Because as you can see, we're covering it up with these top brush strokes. You won't see the stripiness if you cover it. You want to put enough brush strokes down that this initial kind of blend out doesn't even really show. It's just underneath. And you'll notice that they get bigger as they come out. And then if I layer over some of the colors on top of what's like here, then you'll notice that the brush strokes get a little smaller. So as I move in, my brush strokes might be a little bit smaller. So if I want to add a little bit, just putting it there. See, but those brush strokes where I blend the red back in, they're smaller. So the size of your brush stroke definitely matters. I'm going to curve this around. Take a deep breath. Get some water. Work that into the paint, and that's just to improve the flow. I like to go, not all the way out with the red, but pretty far out with the red. And then I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to dry before I get my purple on. Yeah. And when I come back, I'll explain to you why we would dry before we even try to do the purple.
Okay. Now, make sure you thoroughly dry between these layers. That's one of the things that's going to be super important. So you don't have to use heat. It's okay. You don't have to do that. But it is important to thoroughly dry. I have a kitty visitor on my desk over here that's just come over. Mr. Vigo has come to my desk and sitting here and is looking up at the screens and watching Cinnamon hair dry. So it's very funny. He's an unexpected kitty visitor in the studio. So if you have a kitty visitor in your studio, you should give him some loving, because that's good to do. Or your puppies or whomever is keeping you guests. Your fur loved ones. I have a kitty visitor on my desk.
Oh, okay. I'm going to rinse out. So what happens is that yellow, and I'll show you here on my palette, yellow and purple are complementary colors. And when they mix together, they make kind of a gray color. And there's a lot of yellow through here. And then we already know that the red and the purple, when they mix together, make kind of a Merlot color. So I don't want those colors to mix on the canvas while I'm doing the next layer, because what makes this pop is that the purple is so bright. So I'm going to take a little purple and I'm going to bring it over to my white. And I'm going to make a bright light purple. So my Dioxazine Purple over to my white. Very slowly pull the white in there. If it's too light, that's no problem. I can easily darken it with the purple because it's such a tinting color. There we go. Yes. And then I'm going to make some short brush strokes, kind of blend it into the red. It's okay if it's like loosely mixed, that's fine. Loosely mixed means it's not like a completely solid purple on the brush. Maybe there's a little white loosely in it. And then as I come out, I'm going to go ahead and really paint this outer area. Kind of see that going out there. So that's how it's going to go out. Shorter brush strokes up close. Stronger brush strokes. Still curved. Still weaving.
That's a nice...
Isn't that a pretty effect?
Yeah. Athena's really liking this one.
Are you, Athena?
Yeah, you see there. She would like to see some other cute animal ones, sort of like these too. 'Cause she's looks like a painter.
Dog and cat animal paintings, ones we can do fast for cash, like pop of color ones, not the detailed fur ones. Well, yes. Right now, though, the animals that are coming are super detailed furred, but we could do some cute little animals.
And I think you have a few in the past that you've done that are really good for reference. But I get what you're looking for.
Well, I've been asked to match the pop art cat one with a dog one for a while. I've got to just got to get back in the studio and think about it, you know.
Pop art Vigo.
Pop art Vigo. Well, we already did a nice cat, so this would be like to just do a cute doggy. Would be a lot of fun. I'll see what I can think up. But right now, there's an incredible mouse coming, and the fur on that is very detailed. So we have that purple kind of radiating out. Now you can come and get a little bit of a lighter white and purple if you want, and kind of mix. Some of that in here to just create a little more radiance.
Man, these colors are cool.
They pop, right?
They do.
Pop, pop, pop. The big thing is to just curve the brush strokes. So yeah, if you're thinking like this reminds me a little bit of Van Gogh, this is definitely where this style of brush stroke would have originated from. So full credit. Where credit is due.
At least that's where we got it. You know what? I've taken that. What's her name? Lindsay Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now taking all art history and taking her approach to it, where we say that we know of.
We know of.
It always turns out that there was an artist before them that turns out they did it too.
All right, that we know of. Thank you so much, Angela Maxwell. I really appreciate that. That's very kind.
Oh, thank you, Angela.
All right. I would love food paintings, says Brooke. Oh, more food paintings.
Bananas!
Well, there's no more bananas, but the pear was nice. More food. I think more food still would be nice.
We have apples?
Now I'm going to get some white. I'm going to come down into my center and very carefully kind of do some little curve stroke around and blend out a little bit into the yellow. Short, light strokes.
Sort of to break up the line of the sun there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can always come back. I can wipe off my brush and always come back with some yellow. But this is how we get that nice kind of glowing radial round effect that we were looking for.
I have to say the thumbnail does not do this justice. It's so pretty.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad for everyone who came here today. This is just a fun one.
It's really turning out nicely.
And just enjoy this painting experience. This is one of those painting experiences where the actual act of painting it is kind of just enjoyable itself. Like it's just fun.
Yeah.
Because there's so much energy going around. It's such a swirl. Once you do this once in these colors, you will try to do them in other colors, and it can be done in other colors. You can do them in any combination of colors. The only thing that you'll want to do is pay attention to where you have complementary colors. So yellow and purple, red and green. You want to see where you've got complements, and those are colors that are going to go gray. You can look those up online if you want to, and then you just make sure you dry between if there's going to be a complement that goes over. So that's how you can make it any way you want. Let's dry this thoroughly, though.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm gonna say, wow. I mean, Brooke, you get the charcuterie board merit badge because you've done the donut, the cupcake, the wine glass. I mean, that's awesome. I have to see that. I have to see how that comes together. And thank you, Deborah. That's very nice of you. Oh, you're covering your kitchen walls in food. That's really good. Yeah, no, Cinnamon and I did that stuff. We're just getting settled into our newish place here, and we have mostly pictures of the kids and the kitties and the family things on the wall. All those kinds of fun things. But we're still getting some of the paintings up. I love when we put the 8x8 grids of paintings up. They're some of my favorite.
Now,
anyway.
Frank Scorn said if we wanted to make the birds that are black in another color, any suggestions? And Amy for the win there coming in saying, hey, you could do blue since it's a complementary color of the yellow-orange colors. So it's very good. I think you could also get away with green. And Lindsay Michelle says, do you have better paints than mine that I get at Hobby Lobby? Now, I know we all have paints we like, and I'm not shading anybody's paint, but yes, I'm painting with Acrylic by Sennelier. This is a company that's 250 years old. They're famous for their oil paints and pastels and oil pastels and all this stuff. And this is their professional line. And so it's a very high quality paint.
It's very high quality.
Very high quality paint.
And you can get it at theartsherpa.com on our store. Plug our store. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you honestly, just like it is with brushes. Yes, some brushes are better and some paints are better, but I have seen some people paint some amazing paintings with craft bottle paint. So what I have learned is that the art is in the technique and the artist doing it, like the artists that lean into the nature of their paint and they're like, this is my paint, this is how it works, and they work around that, they get good results.
The art is in you, not in your paint.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, now we're going to do our little branch. Do a little branch. I'm going to take my brush and get a drop of water and work it into my black paint. I'm going to swirl this around. Now again, I'm going to immediately throw up a traceable right after this show. So like if you're watching on a replay, it'll be there and it'll be there within 15 minutes at the end of the stream. So if you really, 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 really hate drawing, you don't have to do this part. However, I do think you can do it, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So the first thing I do is I'm going to come down. I want a couple of inches from the bottom, and I'm going to make a little mark. My branch kind of goes off the edge here. And then I'm going to go up a little bit, down a little bit. Make a little upward knot. So I start it very thin. It's easy to thicken. It is hard as the dickens to make it thinner. So that's why I like to go small first. Then once I have that built, I can come in and start to build this branch. So I'm going to bring a second line. It's almost parallel most of the way, but there's a couple places that it does some interesting things. Now back here is the thickest part of the branch coming in off the canvas. And then it's going to thin as it comes towards this end here. Now when I come to this downward little spot on the branch, I'm going to make a little bit of a knot. So I made a little knot coming off of there, like a twig that broke off. Do something kind of similar right here. And then here I'm going to take the brush and kind of turn the handle back. Make a little knot right there. Make another little knot right there. Then coming off of right about here, I'll thicken this up. So it has to be believable that these birds could live here. I'm going to bring a branch down. Kind of goes down at an angle, and then it's going to shoot over to the right on a hard turn. How I get my lines thinner is I release my pressure. So I'm improving the flow of my paint, and I release my pressure when I want my lines to be thinner. And then bring this little branch down there. So that's a nice little crookedy branch that goes down. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to add a bit of a crookedy branch. Can smooth my trunk in as I'm doing that too. Kind of make that a nice little knuckle knot on the tree.
Yeah. What? Comes over and gives me little headbutts every once in a while. He'll meow at me and then.
Once I've come down and made this little wiggly ziggle, I'm going to come back to this first little deviation where it forks out and add another little downward branch. Now, before I try to do anything else, I want to dry my branch completely because this is where my birds are sitting and I definitely want it dry.
Sounds good. Thoroughly dry between the layers. That branch is going to make sure you want to make sure that it's nice and dry so that when you come back and you don't drag any of the paint. And if your black paint doesn't thoroughly cover the first round, don't be afraid to just take a dry it and then paint another layer of black to make sure it's nice and opaque. Those are some areas where when you start to go from your sort of introductory paint to a more pro paint, as we would kind of say, the first ones you should consider upgrading are your whites and your blacks because they make the biggest difference. So
hey, I see something from Marianne. Is there some nature pictures coming soon? Yes, there is a one hoot landscape. It's wildflowers in a field that's coming soon. And then there is a very advanced class that I'm dropping soon that is we have to wait to see it posted. I'll share it out soon. It's really gorgeous. I put a lot of time into it. It goes with the bunny and the crow, if you guys were fans of that. And it's the best one I've done so far. So super excited about it. Can't wait till you see it. So those are the two that are coming up. And then I'm also working on a forest one right now because I want a forest path that's like my fall paintings, but is for summer. Get my brush wet, wipe it off. And now I'm going to show you how I do my birds.
Dude. Look at him. He's like thinking about it.
He is thinking about it. Hopefully he doesn't unplug the stream.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm loading the paint on the tip of my brush and I'm going to come here and I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to build a kind of circle. The circle is going to touch the branch. It's not dissimilar to the size of the sun that we have there. But remember, it's easier to make something bigger than it is to make something smaller. So it's okay to start kind of timidly. So it's a circle. Then kind of at the top of the circle, I'm going to press my brush down and make a little bump. I'm going to get a little paint. Then I'm going to, just on the toe of my brush, right here, kind of not at the full top, but about like if this is the halfway point of that, just a little bit down from that, I'm going to make a little beak that opens up. And there we're singing. Now I like to add some little feathers to the back of the head, so I'm going to press down and pull, and then make a shorter brush stroke and press down and pull, and then make another short brush stroke. The tail I'm going to pull down below the branch, and I'm going to bring this right up to the little back there.
What was that?
And then we'll cross that in front so that layers behind. Then the wings are fun. The wings come back here. It's a long brush stroke that pulls into the body, kind of down low on the body, because we're sort of flapping our wings a little bit. And then each brush stroke that I do is shorter, pulled in. I'm going to come above this one, and I want to leave enough room where I can do a full shortened wing before it runs into this one, because we want a little sliver of orange between them. So there we go, a little sliver of orange. A little bit of a curve there. And then another fun touch, I think, is to come here and make some little, they're like little fluffy feathers. If you painted any birds with me, they always are a little fluffed up. These little touches on the silhouette just make it feel more like a bird. So that's how you do the shape of the bird for that bird. Now I'm going to dry that completely, and then I'll show you how we do the second bird.
The second bird.
The second bird. And I'm drying it because I just don't want to drag my hand through wet paint.
Yeah, so you got to make sure. That's the important thing. It's got to thoroughly dry, so that you don't drag the paint through them as you go on to the next layers. And again, if your black needs extra time to make extra coverage, you can dry this, paint some more black on there, so you get nice thick, dark blacks, and then you can go from there. And yeah.
Da, 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 da. I'm going to rinse out my brush a little bit. I'll show you a trick. Well, it's not really a trick as much as the order of operations here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my white paint on the toe of my brush, and this is dry. And I'm going to come above the beak, and before this, sort of halfway in the head, I'm going to make a little bit of a white circle, and it's a small white circle. And that's going to sit there and dry for a second. But it can dry naturally because my hand's not going to be over there again. Then I'm going to come over here, grab some more of my black paint, load it on my brush, and this time I'm going to draw my circle a little bit above the branch. I want to have a space, at least that much. And this circle might be a little more squished. Doesn't have to be, it can be very round. And again, if this is, you're like, no, I just want the traceable, that'll come out. I'll have that up within 15 minutes of the live stream. And if you're here later going, where are those traceables at? They're on my website, theartsherpa.com. And it's under the tab for traceables. And then you can keyword search the traceable you're looking for. I mean, I am a little precious about the circle, and that is okay that I am, because I just want the bird to look a certain way. I also want to make sure that my black paint is doing a good job covering. Now this time, my little bump is going to be on the front. And to the front of that, I'm going to do another little open tweeting beak. Little open tweeting beak. And then I'm going to come behind and add a couple little feathers. Make sure there's no hidden drops on my brush. Then the tail is sort of interesting because it's like got 2 drops and it comes sort of low and down. And the second little bump. So you can see there's like slightly a shorter one, a shorter feather, and then a longer feather. I'm going to come here and first I'm going to put in the wing and then I'm going to blend them together. This one is more in action, so I'm pulling these out just a little bit more as I come down and shorten them. And then I round them together like that. I can round my little belly out. And then I think the funniest part of this, honestly, is the 2 little stick legs that attach into the branch. I love them so much. Just come down and attach into the branch. Now I'm going to dry that. Make sure I've got good coverage on here, guys.
Good coverage.
Good coverage.
That was one of the things I was saying, is that if your black paint isn't thoroughly covering, you can dry, come back and do another layer, right?
Yeah, I'm going to touch up some areas here.
You can just kind of see sometimes even just a little bit needs it here too. So it's totally normal if you guys need to do that with your paint. You can go ahead and dry it if you need to. Thoroughly dry, making sure that that's and you don't even sometimes you can just give it a quick dry between things where it's not even like what we consider a full step, but just giving it that quick dry sometimes really helps get it to the that next place. So there you go. Some drying tips. Okay.
Okay.
Same step-ish, you think? New step? Where are we at on this?
We can do this in the same step because we're going to just do the eyes now. Yeah. So now I'm going to take my white paint and again, I'm going to come right here. I'm going to be like in the middle between where the beak and the top of the head intersect. Right there. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to rinse out. Now, every time I rinse out my round brush, I wipe my brush off with my towel. And the reason I do is on round brushes, the water can capillary down and just drop like a little art assassin on your painting and just like ruin some technique that you've been doing. So that's why I'm always like, you got to watch for that, like that hidden drop. It's like just waiting to come down your brush and get you. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to very, very, very carefully paint a little black dot in the center. I'm going to dry this one thoroughly. Lots of hair dryers on this last step.
Yeah. Just lots of little hair drying between those two. And that's because you got to get those done. This is going to come together pretty quickly, I think, here. We're just like almost done there, but like the white will wash out the black a little bit, make it not crisp and contrasty if you don't make sure it's dry.
Not even going to put my hair dryer all the way back down because I'll be picking it back up again in just a second. And come in and do the same thing right here. Just a nice black center. And just real quick dry that so I can do the last little touch.
Sorry. Quick dry. Just gotta do those quick dries. And that shouldn't take too much longer. I'm just curious. Oh, it's wet. She said it's gonna take a minute to dry because it is super wet, so it may take just a minute to get that.
So when they're both dry, rinse your brush off and wipe it off on the towel. And then you're going to get the tiniest amount of white paint on the tip of your brush. And then you come back here and add that little sparkle. Is it fussy? Yes, it is. Does it increase the cuteness by like 50%? Yes, it does. Look at those little eyes, a sparkling now. Such a fun painting to do. Just a joy to do. Now, I think in this case, because I don't want to detract from the birds at all, I'm going to sign in my black paint.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And to sign, I'm going to use my number 2 Raphael Precision Imitation Sable brush. It's the short-handled round. It's really good for signatures and detail work. I'm going to go ahead and get it wet and prime up some paint by adding a little water to it. I will sometimes wipe off the brush and then load it back to the toe. And come here in the corner and I will sign my name. You don't have to sign your name. You just can. Just a little signature at the end. And the reason I picked something that's not detracting is I don't want all the eyes to be down here on a red signature, because I don't want the whole painting to be about the signature. I want it to be about these fat little birds. Okay, we're going to come and tell you what you're going to do next. T. Marie says, I'm late, but I made it. Hello to all you beautiful people. It is so better late than never. It is good to see you. I'm glad you made it today. I'm glad for everyone who made it. I so appreciate that. I hope you can tell I'm just feeling a lot better. We did a big test painting to see how I was doing, and it went pretty well. Really well. So you guys are going to get an epic lesson, and I'm seeing myself get back to myself again. We'll still do some multi-part streams now and then because you guys just seem to like those. But some of the big, like, 4 Hoot mega classes will come out of me again soon. So we'll be back to that, and we'll continue to do these fun little adventures. There is a 1 Hoot landscape coming up. So you want to make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications button. Just if you want to, it will help you get notified, or you can come back and check my calendar on the website. If you sign up for the newsletter, that can help you know what's coming up or let you know what lessons that you've missed. If you go by my Facebook group or my Facebook page, I also update there a lot of content and information. So there's a lot of places to find out what's going on, the community tab here. And then you can always check what's upcoming in premieres or in the live streams. So that's how you can kind of keep up on what we're doing. And we just have a lot planned as we come into summer, getting our like summertime art vibe on, which I'm pretty excited about. Don't forget, you have all that information in the description down below, and there'll be a link to the Traceable 15 minutes after the show. And then also you see the materials and everything that I used. I cannot wait to see yours. I hope you'll share it with me. You can come by the Facebook group, which is the Art Sherpa Official. And if you haven't joined yet, just hit the join and answer the 3 questions. If this is the first time you see me and ask you like, what's your favorite Sherpa painting? Just say this one. We're just trying to make sure the bots don't get in. We're not really trying to quiz you guys. So like your best approximation of an answer that like lets us know you are a human. And then you can come in and share the results from your tutorials here. And I love seeing how your paintings come out, and you let me know how you're doing. Was it a fun day, John?
Yes, it was.
I think it was a really fun day. I love today. So I want you guys to be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.